There is no right or wrong way in how to draw a pixel art tree, but there are a few tricks that can make yours look really good, really fast. And I want to share them with you, and you'll wonder why trees ever felt tricky in the first place. In this video, we'll cover a few things. How to move through our color palette on the tree, because it's not what you think. How to draw leaf clumps that we'll use as a brush to make the drawing of the tree extremely quick. And then finally using an outline to bring it all together within just a minute or so. In my spare time, I make asset packs on itch.io, and Pocket Forest was the pack that meant I really perfected this method because there were so many hand-drawn trees and bushes and so on in that pack. So first up, colour. Because colour is a trap that can make your trees look quite flat. When you shade any object in pixel art, the instinct is to go from light to dark. For example, you pick a mid-tone green, you have a light green at the top of the tree and a darker green at the bottom of the tree. But that then becomes just quite flat and muddy looking. The trick is what we call hue shifting. You don't change the brightness of the colour, but you change the hue of the colour as you go through the tree. On a tree, the shadows shift towards a blue green at the bottom, so we can select a blue green. The midtones will sit in the middle green range, and then the highlights shift towards a yellow green. So we go blue, green to yellow, and that's your range. Now, of course, everything's subjective with art, and you should do what feels right for you, but I think this will make trees look really good. So now for the leaf clump method. I think drawing a tree from scratch in pixel art it's not an easy thing, and this method will make it a lot easier and certainly quicker. You can choose whether you want to have a stylized tree, or you can look at some real trees and get references for the shapes of the leaves and find inspiration from that. The leaf clump is just a small, roughly circular or blob shape. It can be organic, not perfect, and just draw the impression of a cluster of leaves. No need for individual leaves if you don't want to, and too much detail can often become noise in pixel art. Anyway, what's going to read well here is the shape and the contrast. Next, we can draw our clumps with the different tones and colours that we have. And I would also suggest putting an outline around each of the clumps as well, and putting a bit of additional shadow with the darker hue on the undersides of the clumps. Next, I'm also going to draw a simple trunk for my tree. Don't have to do anything too crazy here. We can just have a simple trunk. We may want to put a split in it. Normally, if we look at some references, the trunk will get wider towards the base just as it hits the ground, but it's up to you exactly how you want to do this. Again, there's no right or wrong way to do art. And now this is the good part where it starts to come together. We can just copy and paste our clumps and stamp them over and over to build up the outline of our tree canopy by placing the clumps. Start at the bottom first with the darker tones, and then start to build your tree as you go up and the lighter tones towards the top. And you're not really drawing a tree here, you're placing shapes that add up to a tree. And this is where it becomes really easy. You can do loads of variations very quickly now with just this simple stamping method. Try not to overthink it too much. If it reads like a tree, it's going to look great. And we may want to just highlight one color, and with our brush we can just blend in some of these areas if we want to, just to make sure it really reads well. And now for the outline. This is the part that's going to bring our tree together. And in Aseprite, an outline is really easy to do. We can just highlight over our tree that we've drawn so far, press Shift and O, and then we can choose an outline and the color. You could go for black if you want to, or you could do something like a nice dark green. And that's it. Look what that does. It creates a real clean read from any distance for the pixel art. It separates the asset from whatever background it's going to be sitting on, and it gives you that classic pixel art game ready feel. If you want, you can skip the outline on the very top of the canopy and only apply an outline at the bottom and the sides, and this creates a nice subtle lighting effect as well, where the top remains lit and the edges stay defined. And that's it, that's the full method. Hue shifting the trees, leaves as clumps, and an outline to finish. You can try lots of different styles of leaves and shapes of clumps, and it will give you lots of different variations of the trees. You can change the color palette slightly. Again, it will give you more variations. You can make a whole pixel art game now with a ton of trees really quickly, and it'll read really well. If you do want to skip that step and jump straight into the game design, the game creation, feel free to check out my asset pack, Pocket Forest. I'll link it in the description below. And with that, make sure you leave a like, subscribe, and comment. If you have your own asset pack or you want to share your thoughts, comment below. I'd love to hear it, and I'll see you on the next one.